Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Dave Patterson, Sarah Cowgill, Scott Cosenza, and Kelly Ballard. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Liberty Nation published a telling expose in recent days on the hijacking of corporate America by Black Lives Matter. It shows multiple billions of dollars donated from significant banks, popular stores, and name brand producers, all in the big corporate rush in feeding the George Floyd frenzy. From big pharma, big banks, and the most obvious culprits, professional sports leagues, all throwing money at an organization that is even more controversial than the Clinton Foundation. Scott, what does it say about corporate America today? This was really a staggering story by author Joe Schaefer.
Yes, well, Joe reports on the study that was completed by the Claremont Institute, and what they did was look at who these companies and organizations gave money to, and basically how they differentiated where they drew a line for a number counting as a Black Lives Matter distribution. Was they looked at organizations that were either, they had Black Lives Matter in the name, right? Or were an official Black Lives Matter group, or another group that was born from the same time that the Black Lives Matter group is, that's an affiliate group within their universe. And I'll just run down some of the numbers, which are quite staggering. The total that Claremont reports is $83 billion given all in. And just to run down some big companies and the numbers they gave, Citigroup, $1.1 billion, PNC Financial Services, $1.05 billion, 600 million plus US Bank Corp, Wells Fargo, 200 million, BlackRock, 800 million, Morgan Stanley, 30 billion, JP Morgan Chase, 30 billion. And then just some like run-of-the-mill companies, AutoZone, $5 million, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, $85 million, $200 million for Foot Locker, Target, $110 million, and it goes on. And then the sports leagues, just to close it out, Major League Baseball, $150 million, NBA, $300 million, 250 NFL. I mean, it just goes on.
Well,
is this group even, is Black Lives Matter still even in existence? You don't hear about them anymore after the whole use all this money to buy houses.
Spending all that money is no easy task. They got a lot of work.
Aren't they also being investigated for misuse of funds too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you put your finger on that one, right, Kelly? And I think some of the ones that are surprising that are going to move people off their chair and onto the floor are Chick-fil-A, $6.2 million, Costco, $25 million, Ace Bandages, $50 million. Allstate Insurance, $7.7 million. I mean, this is a lot of dough. And as someone said to me recently, well, what do they do with it all? Anybody have an answer to that?
They bought houses and they lived outlandish, expensive lives, as far as I can see.
I think there's a deeper dynamic here that is even more troubling. And that is, and you bring up Chick-fil-A and the millions that they provided. It is amazing how group extortion can take hold of a nation with very little effort on their part. Americans, by and large, are trusting. That is a big mistake. And you have huge corporations, Boeing, for example. I mean, my goodness, this is an aerospace and defense corporation with engineers and lawyers. And these clowns gave money to these scam artists. This is a big problem in the United States.
Yeah, I think
because
you're
everybody
right.
wants to be popular. That's all it is.
Nobody
wants to be the boogeyman and have your name drugged through social media because you didn't play ball with Black Lives Matter.
And the theft from shareholders for these publicly traded corporations, which is rampant in this country. I don't know what the fix is, but you've got a bunch of progressives that are at the top of these corporations say, all right, we'll cut a check for millions of dollars of shareholder, owned money to facilitate our pet political projects.
On the upside,
this is virtue signaling at a corporate level that's really staggering. And by the way, I'm not sure we can completely blame BLM. They didn't say, hands up. These guys coughed it up. They did it to themselves. They coughed up tons and tons and tons of money.
I think you're right. The sports franchise doesn't surprise me at all. But what about, didn't SVB do it too? Silicon Valley Bank?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Here, it's interesting. There's a process here. They're not stupid. First of all, let's establish a standard by which we will judge whether or not you are reasonable, whether or not you should be in business. And we're going to call this ESG scores. And oh my gosh, now you have a standard by which you can say, see, your ESG isn't high enough. Therefore, we're not going to buy your products. And that's extortion.
Hey, Scott, isn't DoorDash on there too?
DoorDash is on there. They gave $1 million. So they're actually hikers compared to some of the rest of them.
Well, so where I live, I don't even have a car. I use Uber, DoorDash, Walk, whatever. And I use DoorDash for groceries or Instacart. And DoorDash, they pop up all the time saying, this is a Black-owned business. Why don't you shop from here? Yeah. And that just kind of drives me nuts because it's like, I'll shop where I want. I
don't care what color it is. Just give me what I want.
But I think Joe brings up a good point. And where does that put people who are not hep with all this, virtue signaling? Are we, just the minority that's looking down their nose at everyone? Or what do? Do we boycott the world? We boycott everything?
Maybe you could recognize your privilege and get your checkbook out, Lisa. How about that as an option, huh?
Yes, that's right. You're right.
Well, you can't boycott everything or there would be nothing, left that you could purchase, which, in where I live, that's okay because we grow our own food, including cows, Scott. They're cows. Masks. They live in a pasture. Anyway, I digress. I think what we're seeing here is you can't just be pissed off and stop buying stuff from people who donate something that you don't like.
Not anymore. No, you just can't. You can't do that. Campbell.
I don't want to discourage boycott campaigns. I want to go on record. I support boycott campaigns generally, and if it moves the needle, then I say do it. I don't want it doesn't behoove anybody to bite off their nose to spite their face. I'm certainly not going to try to find a new ribeye source, even though Costco's.
Oh, Scott's still on the steaks. Okay.
I wrote an article
still hungry.
I wrote an article about the American dream, and there was a study there that more and more Americans are getting upset with companies getting so political. So that can be
I think
that's where I read that. It was your article on the American dream. That's interesting, right. Kelly, that you brought that up. People are kind of getting old.
Mm-hmm. And remember when the LGBTQ community attempted to shut down Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A's business and market almost increased, logarithmically at least. And so there is a downside to the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Well, it get canceled. Yeah, well, now it can be said that social justice pandering did not produce much of a return on investment. Thanks for watching, and thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, surf on over to libertynation.com. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank DiOrio, and our executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.